The airport loudspeaker crackled overhead as I dragged my suitcase through the arrival terminal, exhaustion pressing down on my shoulders like a physical weight. 12 hours in the air from Sydney to Portland, 2 layovers, barely any sleep, and my back ached from being folded into an economy seat that seemed designed for someone half my size. But none of that mattered because I was finally home for Grandma Rose's 90th birthday, the woman who'd raised me when my own mother couldn't be bothered. My name is Iris, and if you're watching this, stay with me, because what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about family. I stood there in the baggage claim area, waiting for my second suitcase to appear on the carousel, my body swaying slightly from the jet lag that made everything feel distant and dreamlike. At 28, I should have felt more put together, but honestly, I looked like I'd been through a storm. My shoulder-length honey blonde hair fell in loose, messy waves around my face, some strands sticking to my neck and cheeks from the recycled airplane air. I wore a casual cream-colored deep V-neck ribbed sweater that draped softly against my frame, the neckline showing my delicate collarbone where a thin silver chain rested, catching the harsh fluorescent terminal lights. The sweater hung comfortably, one side slipping slightly off my shoulder in that effortlessly casual way. I'd paired it with fitted dark washed jeans that were wrinkled from sitting too long, and scuffed white canvas sneakers that had carried me through countless Sydney streets. My fair skin looked pale and drawn, dark circles shadowing my hazel eyes despite the concealer I'd hastily applied in the airplane bathroom. A small leather crossbody bag hung at my hip, and my hands gripped the handle of my black roller suitcase like it was the only solid thing in my spinning world. I'd dressed for a 20-hour journey, not for the warm family reunion I'd been dreaming about for months. The ride to my childhood neighborhood felt surreal. Trees I used to climb, streets I used to ride my bike down, the old corner store where Grandma Rose would buy me strawberry ice cream every Friday after school. Everything looked smaller, older, like a memory that had faded at the edges. When the Uber pulled up to the house, my stomach flipped. Balloons lined the driveway, golden, 90 numbers glittering in the late afternoon sun. Cars packed every available space along the curb, expensive sedans and SUVs that screamed success. The party was already in full swing. I could hear laughter and music drifting from the backyard, the clinking of glasses, the murmur of dozens of voices. My heart swelled. I'd made it just in time. I paid the driver, grabbed my suitcase, and walked up the front path, my steps light despite the exhaustion weighing on every muscle. I'd brought Grandma Rose a hand-embroidered shawl from a local artisan in Sydney, wrapped carefully in tissue paper and tucked in my carry-on. I couldn't wait to see her face light up. But before I could even reach the porch steps, the front door swung open. My father stood there, arms crossed, his face twisted into something cold and unrecognizable. He was wearing a pressed navy polo shirt and beige khakis, his salt and pepper hair neatly combed, looking every bit the respectable family man he pretended to be for the neighbors. But his eyes, they were hard as stones, empty of any warmth I might have once imagined there. "Iris," he said flatly, my name coming out like an accusation. "What are you doing here?" I blinked, confusion washing over me like cold water. "What do you mean?" "I'm here for Grandma's birthday. I told everyone I was coming. I booked my flights 2 months ago." He stepped onto the porch, pulling the door shut behind him, blocking my view of the inside. Behind him, I could hear voices, music, the sound of celebration continuing without me. "We uninvited you," he said, each word deliberate and sharp. My suitcase handle slipped from my fingers. "You, what?" "You heard me. This is a family event. You're not welcome here." The world tilted. I grabbed the porch railing to steady myself, my legs suddenly weak. "Dad, I flew 12 hours. I came all the way from Australia. For Grandma. She's expecting me." His jaw tightened. "Your grandmother doesn't even remember who you are half the time anymore. And frankly, after you abandoned this family to chase some fantasy life overseas, you lost the right to show up and pretend you care." Each word felt like a slap. I didn't abandon anyone. I moved for work. I call every week. I send money when. Save it. He cut me off with a wave of his hand. "Your cousins are here. Your aunt and uncle. People who actually stayed and contributed. You ran away. And now you think you can just waltz back in like nothing happened? My throat burned. Tears pressed hot behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of him. Where's Grandma? I whispered, my voice cracking. I just want to see her. Just for a minute. No. His voice was ice. She's inside, celebrating with people who actually matter. Go back to the airport, Iris. There's nothing for you here. He turned and walked back inside, the door closing with a soft, final click that echoed louder than any slam. I stood there on the porch, frozen, my mind unable to process what had just happened. Behind that door, I could still hear laughter. Music. The clinking of champagne glasses. A party celebrating the woman who'd been more of a mother to me than anyone else in this world. And I wasn't invited. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from my cousin Vanessa, someone I used to share secrets with as kids. Sorry. Dad said you weren't coming. Didn't know you were actually here. I wanted to scream. Instead, I picked up my suitcase, turned around, and walked back down that path, every step heavier than the last. The Uber driver I just paid was still idling at the curb, scrolling through his phone. He looked up as I approached, surprised. Back already? Yeah, I muttered, shoving my suitcase into the trunk. Can you take me to a hotel? Anywhere. He nodded, not asking questions, and I was grateful for that. As we pulled away, I looked back one last time. Through the side gate, I could see the backyard, tables decorated in gold and white, balloons floating, people laughing. And there, in a wheelchair at the center of it all, was Grandma Rose, a paper crown on her head, smiling as my father bent down to kiss her cheek. I turned away, the image burning into my memory. The hotel was cheap and smelled faintly of cleaning chemicals and old carpet. I didn't care. I dropped my bags, collapsed onto the bed, and finally let myself cry, deep, shaking sobs that tore through my chest like something wild trying to escape. I'd given up so much to make this trip. Used vacation days I didn't have. Spent money I'd been saving. All for a grandmother who'd been my hero, my safe place. And my own father had turned me away like I was nothing. My phone buzzed again. Another text, this time from my Aunt Diane. Heard what happened. Your dad was out of line. But honestly, Iris, maybe it's for the best. There's been a lot of tension about Rose's estate. Better you're not in the middle of it. Estate? I sat up, wiping my eyes. What the hell did that mean? I tried calling Aunt Diane, but she didn't pick up. I tried Vanessa. Straight to voicemail. Something was wrong. Really wrong. I spent the next 2 days in that hotel room, barely eating, trying to reach anyone who would talk to me. Finally, on the third day, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Miss Iris Calloway? A woman's voice, professional and clipped. Yes? This is Patricia Nguyen from Nguyen and Associates. I'm an estate attorney. I've been trying to reach you for several weeks regarding your grandmother, Rose Calloway. My heart stopped. Is she okay? I'm calling about her will, Miss Calloway. I need you to come to my office as soon as possible. There are some urgent matters we need to discuss. Her will? But, she's still alive. The party was just. I understand. But Mrs. Calloway updated her estate documents 6 months ago, and there are specific instructions that require your immediate attention. Can you come in tomorrow morning? 9 a.m.? I agreed, my hands shaking as I hung up. The law office was downtown, in a sleek glass building that smelled like expensive leather and old money. Patricia Nguyen was a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s, her black hair pulled into a tight bun, her suit immaculate. She gestured for me to sit, then opened a thick file folder. Miss Calloway, I'll get straight to the point. Your grandmother has early-stage dementia, as I'm sure you're aware. 6 months ago, during a moment of complete clarity, she came to me and revised her entire estate plan. My throat tightened. Okay. She was very specific. She wanted to ensure that certain assets went to you, and you alone. I stared at her. What? Patricia slid a document across the desk. Your grandmother owns considerably more than your family realizes. In addition to the family home, she has 3 rental properties in the Pearl District, a commercial building in Beaverton, and a stock portfolio worth approximately $2.3 million. The room spun. That's not possible. Grandma lived modestly. She always said she was just getting by on Social Security. Patricia's expression softened. Your grandmother was a very private woman. She didn't want her children fighting over money while she was still alive. So she kept it quiet. But she was very clear about her wishes. Everything goes to you. To me? My voice came out as a whisper. Not my father. Not my aunt. No. She left them each a small token amount, $5,000, but the bulk of her estate goes directly to you. She said you were the only one who loved her for who she was, not for what she could give you. Tears spilled down my cheeks before I could stop them. Patricia continued, her voice gentle now. There's more. Your grandmother suspected your father and aunt might try to interfere. She asked me to monitor the situation. Miss Calloway, I need to inform you that 2 weeks ago, your father and aunt attempted to sell one of the rental properties. My head snapped up. What? They forged documents claiming power of attorney. They were in the process of transferring the deed when I intervened. The sale has been halted, but they may not know that yet. Rage, hot and bright, flooded through me. They tried to steal from her? Technically, they tried to steal from you. The properties are held in a trust with you as the sole beneficiary. They have no legal claim to any of it. I sat back, my mind reeling. This was why my father had turned me away. This was why Aunt Diane had mentioned tension about the estate. They were trying to rob Grandma blind, and I was in the way. Patricia leaned forward. Miss Calloway, I need you to understand something. Your grandmother made these arrangements specifically to protect you. She knew her children would fight. She knew they'd try to cut you out. But she also knew you'd need proof, documentation, everything ironclad. And she gave that to you. She pushed another folder across the desk, this one even thicker. These are all the deeds, account statements, trust documents. Everything is in your name. I've also prepared a cease and desist letter for your father and aunt. If they attempt any further action, we'll pursue charges for fraud and elder abuse. My hands trembled as I took the folder. Inside were property titles, bank statements showing accounts I'd never known existed, stock certificates, investment reports. My grandmother's neat signature on every single document. And at the bottom, a handwritten note on floral stationery. My dearest Iris. If you're reading this, then Patricia has told you everything. I'm sorry I kept secrets, but I needed to protect you from the vultures. Your father and your aunt, they love money more than they ever loved me. But you, my sweet girl, you loved me even when I had nothing to give but stories and cookies. This is your future. Build something beautiful with it. Live free. And know that you were always, always my favorite. All my love, Grandma Rose. I couldn't breathe. The tears came in waves, and I didn't even try to stop them. Patricia handed me a tissue box. Take your time. After several minutes, I managed to pull myself together. What do I do now? Now? Patricia smiled, a small, sharp smile. Now we make sure your family knows exactly where they stand. She picked up her phone and made a call. Yes, it's Patricia and Gwyn. I need to schedule an emergency family meeting. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Yes, all of them. It's regarding the Rose Calloway estate. Thank you. She hung up and looked at me. Tomorrow, you're going to walk into that room, and you're going to take back everything they tried to steal from you. The next day, I walked into that conference room with my head high. Patricia was beside me, her briefcase full of documents that would blow my family's world apart. My father was already there, sitting at the head of the table like he owned the place. Aunt Diane sat beside him, her arms crossed, her expression sour. My uncle, my cousins, even Vanessa, all of them staring at me like I was an intruder. "What's this about?" my father demanded, glaring at Patricia. "We're in the middle of finalizing estate matters. We don't need outsiders." "Mr. Calloway," Patricia interrupted smoothly, sitting down and opening her briefcase. "I'm here representing your mother's interests. And more specifically, I'm here representing Miss Iris Calloway, who is the sole beneficiary of your mother's estate." The room went silent. My father's face turned red. "That's ridiculous. We're handling everything. We have power of attorney." "No, you don't," Patricia said calmly. She slid a document across the table. "You attempted to forge power of attorney documents 2 weeks ago to sell a property that doesn't belong to you. That property, along with all other assets, is held in an irrevocable trust with Iris as the sole beneficiary." Aunt Diane stood up, her voice shrill. "That's impossible. We already divided everything. Mother wouldn't." "Your mother updated her will 6 months ago," Patricia continued, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Everything, the house, the rental properties, the commercial building, the investment accounts, all of it goes to Iris. You and your brother were left $5,000 each." $5,000? My father slammed his hand on the table. "That's insulting. We're her children. We took care of her." "Took care of her?" I finally spoke, my voice shaking but strong. "You tried to sell her property out from under her. You uninvited me from her 90th birthday because you didn't want me finding out what you were doing." My father's eyes narrowed. "You have no idea what you're talking about." "Don't I?" I stood up, pulling out the folder Patricia had given me. "Grandma knew exactly what you were. She knew you'd try to take everything. That's why she made sure I got it all. Because I actually loved her." Vanessa was staring at me, her face pale. "Iris, I didn't know." "Save it," I said coldly. "You all knew. You all stood by and let him turn me away." Patricia cleared her throat. "Mr. Calloway, Mrs. Harding, I've prepared cease and desist letters for both of you. If you attempt any further interference with Mrs. Rose Calloway's estate, we will pursue criminal charges for fraud, forgery, and elder financial abuse. Do I make myself clear?" My father looked like he might explode. "You can't do this. We'll fight it. We'll contest the will." "You're welcome to try," Patricia said with a cold smile. "But I should inform you that Mrs. Calloway had a full cognitive evaluation performed by 2 independent physicians when she updated her will. She was of completely sound mind. Any attempt to contest will be unsuccessful and costly." The room was silent except for my father's heavy breathing. I looked at him, this man who was supposed to protect me, and felt nothing but pity. "I flew 12 hours to see Grandma," I said quietly. "I came all the way home because I love her. And you turned me away. You treated me like I was nothing." I picked up my bag and stood. "But Grandma knew better. She knew exactly who you were. And she made sure you'd never hurt me again." I walked toward the door, then paused and looked back. "Oh, and Dad? I'm evicting you from Grandma's house. You have 30 days. His face went white. "You can't." "I own it," I said simply. "Patricia has the paperwork. You've been living there rent-free for 5 years. That ends now." I walked out of that conference room with Patricia beside me, leaving behind the sound of my father's rage and my aunt's sobbing. Outside, the Portland sun was shining, and for the first time in days, I could breathe. Patricia turned to me. "What will you do now?" I thought about it, about the properties, the investments, the freedom Grandma had given me. "I'm going to visit her," I said. "Really visit her this time. And then I'm going to build something she'd be proud of. Patricia smiled. She already is. That afternoon, I walked into the memory care facility where Grandma Rose had been moved, a place my father had forgotten to tell me about. She was sitting in a sunny room, looking out the window, the paper crown from her birthday still perched on her white hair. When she saw me, her face lit up with recognition, clear and bright. "Iris," she whispered, reaching out her hands. I took them, kneeling beside her chair, tears streaming down my face. "I'm here, Grandma. I'm here." She cupped my face, her eyes so full of love it hurt. "I knew you'd come. I knew you'd figure it out. Thank you," I whispered. "For everything. For protecting me. For believing in me." She smiled, that beautiful smile I'd loved my whole life. "You were always my girl. Always." We sat together for hours, me telling her about Sydney, her telling me stories I'd heard 100 times but would never tire of. And when the sun began to set, painting the room in gold, I realized something. My father had tried to take everything from me. But instead, he'd given me the greatest gift of all. The truth about who really mattered. And now, with Grandma's legacy behind me, I was going to build a life they could never touch, never diminish, never take away. I was going to honor the woman who saved me. And I was going to do it on my own terms. Over the next few months, I transformed everything. I moved back to Portland permanently, leaving my Sydney life behind without regret. The rental properties became affordable housing for single mothers. The commercial building became a community center offering free classes and resources. The investment accounts, I used some to care for Grandma's medical expenses and set up a trust for her ongoing care, the best facility, the best doctors, everything she deserved. My father tried to fight, tried to contest, tried to turn other family members against me. But it didn't matter. The law was on my side. Grandma's wishes were clear. And one by one, the people who'd stood silent at that birthday party started reaching out with apologies I didn't need. I forgave some. Others, I let drift away like smoke. Grandma Rose passed away peacefully 8 months later, with me holding her hand, reading her favorite poems as the sun streamed through the window. At her funeral, my father tried to speak. Tried to claim he'd been her devoted son. I didn't stop him. I didn't need to. Because everyone there knew the truth. And when they lowered her casket into the ground, I placed a single sunflower on top, her favorite flower, and whispered a promise. "I'll make you proud, Grandma. Every single day." I've kept that promise. The community center now serves over 300 families a month. The housing program has helped dozens of women get back on their feet. And every year, on her birthday, I throw a party, not for the family that rejected me, but for the people Grandma would have loved, the ones who needed someone to believe in them. I learned something through all of this. Blood doesn't make you family. Love does. And the people who tried to use me, betray me, erase me, they're nothing to me now. But Grandma Rose? She's everything. She saw me when no one else did. She saved me when I needed it most. And she gave me the power to rise above every person who ever tried to tear me down. I didn't just inherit money. I inherited strength. And I'll carry that with me forever.